everybody, it's Amanda. I'm on my front porch having my cup of mullein leaf tea, just doing some intros for you guys for the footage that I have not been able to get caught up on since we went on vacation in Virginia. So today's video is us going to Joel Salatin's Polyface Farm. This is like a dream come true for me, guys. Something I have been wanting to do for the longest time, and I was really trying, because I only had so much space on my phone to keep the footage, so I was trying to really just narrow it down to just the best pieces of footage that I could. Hopefully I put it together into something that is really inspiring to you guys. The thing about Joel Salatin is, even if you're not a farmer, and if you don't know who Joel Salatin is, he is self-proclaimed lunatic farmer, which it's just a funny term. He farms in such a way that it's completely different from modern agriculture. He's really big on sustainable practices, and he really is interested in natural health, which I think is something more farmers should pay attention to. And even if you're not a farmer, because obviously I'm not, the wisdom that he has about how your food is produced is something that I think anyone can benefit from, and give you more knowledge about how the food that you bring to your family, how it's treated before it even gets there, and the health benefits from that. So anyway, so you guys watch this footage, and I'm sure you're going to get something great out of it. Definitely check out, I'll put links down in the description box so you can check out Polyface Farms and Joel Salatin. There's a ton of videos of him here on YouTube that I like to watch when I'm doing dishes and stuff, and just hear the wisdom that he has. So anyway, so here you go, check it out. I'm sure you're going to enjoy listening to all the wisdom he has to share. Okay, so the first thing we did was we took a few pictures of pulling up his house, Joel and the tractor arriving, which was kind of surreal, and the Homesteaders of America staff got on the tractor. He spoke to us for a few minutes, and we saw his dog Michael, and then he rode us around. This is the first part of his farm, where we see his hay storage. He had some rabbits and hogs back there. He uses that for also keeping his cows in certain seasons. And his carbon shed is here on the left-hand side, and that's his most valuable area on the farm, according to him. And so there we are on the tractor, and again looking at that hay loft. So after that, we rode around just a little bit further, and of course this whole area was really the most beautiful part of the farm. You're not going to get the full effect of it here on this video, I'm afraid, but it was absolutely gorgeous. And I tried to pan around, but just was impossible to get everything. Anyway, we're coming up on the turkey setup, and so here in just a minute he's going to speak a little bit about the turkeys and how he keeps them penned, to talk a little bit about some things at Homesteaders of America conference that we had just gone to, and he was of course speaking there. So we're going to let him speak, and then we will go to the next section.
I know most of you are familiar with this, Premier netting. Was Premier at the?
Yes.
They were. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't. My biggest bummer of the day, I just couldn't get around. I just couldn't. I mean, I tried to go. I visited the folks with the quail, because my granddaughter's wanting to do some quail, I think.
So the next area that we looked at were the cows, and I don't have cows, I don't plan to get cows, so I took a few pictures because it was absolutely gorgeous yet again, and I panned around to see everything, but I was kind of holding on to my phone battery and phone storage to get all the information I could about chickens, which that was coming up in just a moment. So look around, bask in it. If you're interested in cows, you can look it up, but my word, again, beautiful, so knowledgeable, it was such a blessing to be there. But now we're going to the chickens.
Isn't it pretty?
It is
Beautiful.
All right, so this is 1,000 chickens, and so now here, same Energizer, but now here we have three of those 150-foot pieces of netting put together instead of two. You see how much bigger the circle is than over there at the turkeys. We call this the Millennium Feather Net, obviously a takeoff from Star Wars, the Millennium Falcon. It was the fastest thing in the galaxy, but ugly as a pile of bolts, right? And so this is big. Now again, this is a permutation from prototypes. So the first one we did was a little 10 by 10 hoop structure. And then it got bigger. Then it got 12 by 20. And then we gradually, this design, we went away from the hoop structure. This design, I can't tell you enough good about it. This was an epiphanal breakthrough. This X truss, because here's the thing. When you're trying to pull around hoop structures, and hoop structures don't have any structural integrity down on the ground. Okay, so you gotta put your structural integrity down on the ground. Well, then you start to trip over it when you're in there. You grab a chicken, you run over a chicken. It's a real problem. Here with the X truss, there's nothing on the ground except the 2 3-inch pipe skids. This is on skids, not wheels. There's 2 3-inch pipe skids. That's all that's on the ground. And so you never run over a chicken with this because it's running parallel to the way you're moving. All right. So if a chicken's in there, the X truss is high enough off the ground, it just runs over her but doesn't hit her. Okay. So it's a much more chicken-friendly kind of thing. And because of the structural integrity, you have roofs. You see all the roofs in there. That catwalk up on top where all the nest boxes are. I've had 25 people standing up on that catwalk. Very strong. When we built it, I just hooked it up and went out in the field and did pinwheels to see how strong it was. This thing will take 100-mile-an-hour winds because it's a real low center of gravity, as opposed to a hoop house, which can tip over or fly apart. So, you know, it's a little heavier than a hoop structure, but when you're dealing with portable, you're always in this fine line between light enough to move, but heavy enough to not blow around. You know, that's a real fine line there. And so this thing is right in that realm. The feed buggy in front, that's a feed buggy in front. So it's hooked by a chain to the structure. So you hook up with the tractor, and the whole thing moves through like a train. Okay, one pin, one hookup, and everything moves together. And the feed buggy can hold almost 4,000 pounds of feed, which is enough to take these guys for a month, which means you don't have to run out in the field but once a month. All right. So this thing about efficiency, about hauling 5-gallon buckets of feed, hauling stuff, you want to get your feed, you want to get to where you're not hauling stuff out there but about once a month, because that suddenly drops your chore time down every day, because now you're just dipping and you're filling your inventory one day a month, and you're just dipping from it on site instead of toting from here out there and running. It eats up your time. Are you with me? So these guys get moved every 3 days. So you can see that they were just here, and now they're here, and there's we'll set up, you know, over here, and they just go around an area. Yes.
So I want to know why you selected the breed you do, knowing that Wyandottes don't lay quite as well as your industrial reds would do, your reds would do, or your Plymouth Rocks. Why add the Wyandottes to this compared to the other higher layers?
2 reasons. One is they're pretty.
Okay. All right.
But the main one is that when we order pullets, the non-hybrid, the pool of non-hybrid chicks in hatcheries is so small now that they can't get us 2,000 barred rocks.
Okay.
They can't get us 2,000 New Hampshire reds.
Okay.
And so we're forced to get 500 of different breeds if we want a batch of, 2,000 at one time. Okay? And so that's why.
Okay.
So that's why there's barred rocks, Rhode Island reds, New Hampshire reds, Wyandotte, normally there would be an astrolorp in here, but I don't see any.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's why.
Okay.
That's why. Because we, and the hatcheries love us if we get a few of several. It helps their inventory as well, their marketing. Instead of us saying, I want 2,000 barred rocks on June 2nd. I don't know a hatchery in the country that can do that anymore, and it's a shame. That's how much we've lost. Used to be able to do that. You know, years ago you could do that, no problem. But now that demand, and so we don't use any hybrid layers.
Right.
We're using purebred, true blue layers. Now, that said, these actually came from a hatchery, but now 2/3 of our layers we're hatching ourselves.
Okay.
So we're hatching about 3,000 a year ourselves, essentially taking the oldest hens. And if you're old and you're healthy and you're producing, we want you. We don't care what color you are, we don't care how big you are, we don't care anything. And we've been doing that now for about 6 years, and we're hoping to gradually phase out buying any from a hatchery. And believe me, everybody that sees these wants to buy them. So I don't know if we'll get to a point where we can actually, produce enough to do that. I mean, the conundrum on that is the cockerels. The pullets are not a problem. The problem is the cockerels, and of course, the industry just throws them away. But we try to not do that, and so we've just this year, I think, had some pretty big breakthroughs because again, they're wonderful heritage. We sell them as heritage roosters, but we sell 25,000 Cornish cross broilers a year, and we sell 500 heritage roosters. I mean, that's the difference in the in the market. And so I mean, if we're hatching 3,000 pullets, obviously we're hatching 3,000 cockerels, and we've done everything we know how in marketing to hype them up, to get people to we have all these newsletters, girls lay eggs, boys don't, and I mean, you got to start that elementary with the average urban consumer. And so, everybody wants the eggs that the girls lay. Well, how do we honor the boys? Well, we eat them. We let them grow up and we eat them. We the brothers of the sisters. I mean, we've done every kind of messaging you can imagine to try to get people to embrace the circle, to embrace the circle. But man, it's hard. So this summer, actually, we've had a couple of big breakthroughs. 2 folks have come to us that are in the raw dog food, pet food business. And goodness, we're selling these roosters for $9 a piece, and we don't even have to QC them. I mean, a couple pin feathers, who cares? So you take the guts out, and you don't even have to pull the heads off, and you don't have to QC them. So boy, we can run through those in a hurry, and get a good price. And the fact is, most Americans are far more concerned about the nutrition of their pets than they are their own kids. I mean, that's the state of affairs we're in. Fido gets first dibs over Johnny, and so that's been a pretty big breakthrough. So we're hoping that's gonna help us to use these, and not, because I mean, this year we actually threw a bunch of them away. As soon as they were big enough we could tell. I mean, you raise this 6-week-old chick, and that's about as big. That's about when we can start telling the difference. And you just knock them off, compost them. It's a shame. It's like disrespectful of life and food and everything else. Of course, I know that other people would say, well, it's just as disrespectful to kill them old as young or whatever. We're not going to get into that argument, but there we are.
So my next question is that how stringent are you in regards to production? Are you going at that 18 months, 2.5 year mark for them? How stringent are you in regards to that?
Essentially, they lay for 2 years for us. And at the end of 2 years, as the day length goes down, we start processing. We sell them as stewing hens. We have been able to sell all the stewing hens, especially to gourmet chefs. There's nothing like a stewing hen, as you know, that makes stock and for whatever, pull sandwiches, whatever. So the stewing hens we have been able to move all. But of course we don't have as many of them because by the time you get to stewing hen time, you've had attrition. Over those couple of years you've lost, 10, 15%, and so you don't have as many as you do on that initial cockerels that are the startup, the startup hen. So we run them. I mean, we've got 3 of these Millennium feather nets running right now, and we have I don't know a dozen egg mobiles. So we have enough that we can do all flock in, all flock out. So that's what we do. We basically and the young ones go in the Millennium feather net because it's more protective.
Yeah.
And the old ones go in the egg mobiles because there's more mortality there because it's less secure. Okay. They can run anywhere. It's more predator prone. It's more conducive to a chicken just getting too far away, not finding her way back. Things like that. So there is a higher attrition in the egg mobiles than in here. But the egg mobile makes it up for what they do behind the cows.
Do you keep a goose in the pen?
We normally do, but the goose is not with these right now. We don't. We're kind of at the end of the season, so we ran out of geese, and we have geese. We started 2 Millennium feather nets at some rental property, which is a little more less secure than here. And I mean, from here, Eric can pretty much shoot anything from his house, and so it's a little more secure. And we have more people here, a lot more human activity here. And actually, there have been some interesting things done on size. And here again, scale is an interesting thing. That the bigger the flock, the more intimidating it is to aerial predators. And so I was in Australia, and a guy had run a study. He was doing this, and he'd run a study with different flock sizes in a field with aerial predators, almost side by side, and throughout his the couple of years that he did these side by side trials, the bigger the flock, the less the aerial predation. The smaller the flock, the higher the aerial predation. Why? Because 10 or 12 birds don't look intimidating to a hawk. A hawk looks down and sees all this, and even a hawk can be a little bit disconcerting. And that's why lions and tigers in the Serengeti, they don't run into a mob of wildebeest. They pick off the stragglers, right? And 10 or 12 chickens in a backyard looks like a bunch of stragglers. This doesn't look like stragglers. The other thing is, here's the single biggest thing we've noticed with our line breeding with our breeding on the chickens is that we're now 6 years into this, so we now have a couple of generations of selection of what we call functional genetics. They are so much smarter because think, the bird in here that saw the hawk and said, "Hi, feathered cousin, let's come and have dinner together." That chicken isn't going to make it 2 years to breeding. But every chicken that made it 2 years to breeding was the one that saw them and ran under protection. Right. And so within 2 years, we saw dramatic changes in intelligence and in docility. They were more docile. And the third one, body size. They grew in body size about 20% just within 2 years. What's happened is in my lifetime, and I remember when I was a kid, and I'd get these chickens from Sears and Roebuck, Barred Rocks, New Hampshire, Red. I mean, a hen would weigh like 6 pounds. Big, robust hens, all right? But once the industry introduced the Cornish cross double-breasted broiler, the dual-purpose chicken was no longer necessary. And so even the heritage hatcheries started downsizing the body size because the only thing they had to sell was egg production, even on a heritage bird. And so all these birds that were 6 pounds when I was a kid, then went to 5, and a lot of them are now down to 4. Well, you go from 6 to 4 pounds. That's a huge difference in genetic capacity. Okay, and so they're more fragile. And these birds, we did a trial this spring. Our first trial, we did a trial between a group of our hatched birds that were 3 years old compared to a group that we got from a hatchery that was only 1 year old. Our 3-year-olds beat them by 20%.
I can imagine that.
3-year-olds. And so we are giddy with excitement about what old functional genetics and keeping them in our system is doing for us. They're bigger birds. They're more. You can't kill them with a stick. They actually grade. I mean, can you imagine? I've preached forever. Wouldn't it be cool if somebody would actually take this and start trap nesting, a la Harvey Ussery, okay? Trap nesting and selecting the chickens that had the darkest yolked eggs. Because in this flock right here, there are eggs that are orange and there are eggs that are pale.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Well, the difference is the orange ones are the chickens that are out here eating grass, and the pale ones, they're just in there hanging around the feeders looking for a handout. So that's the difference. So wouldn't it be cool if somebody would take a genetic interest to select for grazability in a chicken and offer genetic stock? Because all these characteristics, get out and get it with itness is very heritable, okay, as is loafing, all right? And so that's the kind of, as I see our movement continue to refine and move forward, that's the kind of stuff I want to see as entrepreneurs jump on that kind of selection, so you can actually have a chicken that eats twice as much grass as this one. I mean, I'd pay for that.
Joel, can I look inside of your thing?
You want to go in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just,
Hello, chickies. Say this is the cleanest smelling chicken poo I have ever smelled.
I feel the same way, and considering it's 1,000 chickens.
Yeah.
Okay, honestly, everything he had to say about chickens was amazing. Totally blew my mind. I have all these pictures here of the millennial feathernet, and just look at all those details. It's amazing. So even Brian got out and walked around, and he enjoyed the fresh air. It really did not smell at all. It was totally amazing and gorgeous, and all the Homesteaders of America staff enjoyed it too. The last place we went to see was the eggmobiles. We saw those out in the mountainous area, and this was about where my phone battery ran out. But I was trying to get information on this as well. But again, there's plenty of this out there. If you want to search it out, go search Joel Salatin. And there's the rest of the farm and Brian, and again, the Homesteaders of America staff with Joel. Wasn't that amazing? I am not kidding you. I love Joel Salatin and everything that he has to say. It really, I'll tell you this little tiny story. I know you've already heard him talk, but he told the story one time about how people treat ground, how they treat the soil, and how important it is for the soil to rest. And he actually showed these images of soil that hadn't been rested and how dry and non-productive it was versus soil that had been rested. And you saw in this picture this beautiful landscape. And it just really spoke to me, not so much just about the soil and how our food is produced, but also about how we treat ourselves and how when we don't get enough rest, we're depleted. And then when we get plenty of rest, we're productive. So, I mean, you can look, there's so many layers of wisdom in the things that Joel Salatin has to say. Again, even if you're not a farmer, you can benefit from it. So I hope you'll check him out. Again, links are in the description box. And that's that. So come back tomorrow, and we're going to be sharing footage from the Homesteaders of America conference. I know you're like wondering what in the world did we do. Well, you'll see that tomorrow, and it'll be really good. So again, thanks for hanging out with us. Come back tomorrow. Oh, and don't forget, we have a live event tonight. Between 7 and 8, it's usually when we're done with dinner, we'll get started. So make sure you subscribe and click the bell. That way you get notified when we're live. So anyway, we'll see you then. Bye. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm really glad you came to visit us here at the Fundamental Home. Make sure if you enjoyed this video that you click the like button, and also click subscribe right below me for more videos coming into your inbox all the time. And also, if you enjoy social media, we've got links up at the top here for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, all the other fun things. And check out thefundamentalhome.com for more information about what we're doing all the time and how we do it, because there's way more details there. And here over to the right, we have some videos that I recommend. So thanks again for coming by, and we'll see you next time. Bye.